Today, the 5th of September, is actually Spinal Cord Injury Day, and the theme this year is access to spinal cord injury services. A life less complicated. And this is a message, I suppose, that resonates deeply with the No Barriers Foundation, which is just a couple of doors over here at the Mountaintop in Letterkenny. And it's a not-for-profit organisation, and they aim to create an inclusive health facility with specialist neurological equipment, allowing anyone with a disability to train and to improve their current level of physical and mental health. And Johnny Loughrey, now CEO of the foundation, is with me in the studio. And Johnny, it's important to stress that it is about the mental and the physical. One goes with the other.
Yeah, 100%, John. So we would see people coming through the door, and initially, obviously, I suppose to the naked eye, the most kind of, I suppose, thing that would hit you is if somebody's level of mobility, or say if they're in a wheelchair, or if their ability to walk has been taken away from them. These are the things that we see first and foremost. But whenever you are working with individuals whose lives have changed, overnight in some cases, then there can be a huge element of mental health to that as well. Yeah. Anxiety, depression, trying to cope with a new way of living, basically. So yeah, certainly No Barriers is all about I suppose rehabilitation and improving someone's physical, but also really emphasising the mental health aspect of it as well, and helping people to, I suppose, regain control of their lives and just to accept kind of where they are, but to know that it's not going to dictate the course of their life, that they can still lead a happy, productive life.
And a lot of it is about accepting where you are, accepting the new reality, and about readjusting, and then I suppose setting goals, maybe small goals, but they're setting goals, and then about achieving those goals.
Yeah, and everyone's prognosis, or I suppose what we're aiming to achieve with everybody, is going to be slightly different. It's one of the things that we talk about when someone comes through the door, is in some cases people can be forecasted to make great progress, and in other cases, the injury might be, say in a complete spinal cord injury, where they might have to learn to live, with using a wheelchair to get around. It varies from person to person, but like you were saying, it's all about setting small goals. And even in the event that somebody maybe is currently in a wheelchair when they come to No Barriers, and they will continue to be in a wheelchair, they can still get fitter and stronger, and happier in themselves. And I suppose it's about emphasising and noting those wins, setting those small goals and helping people to achieve these goals. Once somebody maybe has a disability, one of the main reasons that they end up in hospital is due to deconditioning and maybe developing heart disease or lung disease. So regardless of whether you have a disability or not, getting fitter and stronger and healthier is hugely important.
Yeah, it's important to stay as fit as you can, whatever that level is.
Yeah.
Okay, just a couple of things of note. As I mentioned, it's Spinal Cord Injury Day today, and you're offering free physio assessments to tie in with that for a period.
Yeah, so No Barriers basically was born out of necessity. So what we try to do as a charity is to try and create a service where a service is maybe lacking. So one of the things in the Northwest we could see is that there wasn't any sort of specialist neuro rehab facility, and not just in the Northwest, really nationally, it's a service that's lacking. So what we did is we provide this service as cheaply as we possibly can. Today, as you said, is International Spinal Cord Injury Day, but what we're doing is we're inviting anybody. You don't have to have a spinal cord injury. You can have MS, you can have Parkinson's disease, you could have had a stroke, a brain injury, any neurological condition, and you can come along to No Barriers. And it's not just for today. We'll be doing this ongoing for a period of time, but you can come along, get a free full initial assessment and speak to somebody about potentially, what you can do and what way we might be able to help.
Okay. This is for people who've had mostly spinal injuries, maybe something neurological that's affecting it. severely affecting their mobility. Not necessarily about someone who's at rehab after a broken leg.
No, no. So it would be primarily neurological. So yeah, spinal cord injury, brain injury, MS, Parkinson's disease, stroke, any neurological. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And those free physical assessments will be available for a limited time. Just come along, just get in touch, make your appointment, and go along.
Yeah, you can get in touch with us. You can look us up on the website, www.nobarriers.ie. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. So you can ring us up, you can shoot us through an Instagram message, a Facebook message, any way that you want to contact us, and we'll help you get organised for your free assessment. Yeah.
You have exoskeletal suit, which is available. It means people don't have to travel. There's not many of them in the country, and it means that people have access to it locally rather than have to travel long distances. And in some cases, I mean, it's not a magic wand, but in some cases, it can be life changing.
Yeah, yeah. The exoskeleton, we're lucky enough to have 2 suits out of six in the country. We have 2 of them up here. And basically the exoskeleton suit's a robotic suit that people can get measured up and transfer into. So even if they're completely paralysed, we can transfer them. They can go from their wheelchair into the suit. And then we can stand them up and walk while in the suit. And the individual can control the suit themselves and rehabilitate and walk while in the suit. And in some cases, the goal is to get fitter and stronger, and it can help with regulating blood pressure and bladder and bowel function and preventing osteoporosis and these types of things where somebody's completely paralysed. In cases where you've maybe partial paralysis or you've a lot of weakness, the suit can actually help you to get a lot stronger and improve the way that you're walking, and maybe go from being a wheelchair user or wearing or using crutches or a walking aid to not needing that. So it just depends injury to injury and person to person what the goal of using the suit is, but it's fantastic. Yeah.
You've also identified a need for a paediatric physio, and there's been a lot of inquiries, and the HSE can't accommodate the demand that there is for it at the moment. So you're attempting to provide this as well.
Yeah, so I suppose No Barriers is very solution based, and as I was saying before, if we can see that there's a lack of a particular service or it's difficult to access, what we can do is try to facilitate that and create it in the most affordable way that we possibly can as a charity. So we primarily started working with adults, but in No Barriers we were getting inquiries about a paediatric service, and we would be providing a small amount of paediatric physiotherapy at the moment. We're realising just that the lack of access to that service at the minute just means that waiting lists are quite high. The HSE is doing its best, but it's just that the waiting lists are quite high at the minute, and families are trying to access the service. So what we are doing is we're putting a call out to people, and as I said, if there's a lack of a service and we can help, we will try our best. So what we're doing is, if we can create a wait list and we get 50 families that would be interested in trying to access paediatric physiotherapy, we'll start the recruitment process and try to facilitate that and employ a paediatric physiotherapist to be working with them.
So if there's 50 cases, if there are 50 families that are in need of this service, paediatric physiotherapy, they get in touch, and if you can get 50 on this list, that's enough then to start the process to get a paediatric physiotherapist.
Yeah, we'll start the ball rolling. So basically, if we can get 50 individuals that need the service, 50 families that say, I have a son or a daughter that really needs to access this service, we'll start looking at the recruitment process for a physiotherapy to come on board. And basically what we'll try and do is via grants and fundraising, we try and make the service as cheap as we possibly can. So it should be more affordable than having to go private for this service. Yeah.
So what do people need to do?
Basically just get in touch with No Barriers again. So if you think that you would like to access paediatric physiotherapy, just go onto the website. You can get our number there, or you can access our Instagram or Facebook and just get in touch and just let us know that you want to be put down on this wait list. We'll try and start the ball rolling to see if we can recruit somebody. Obviously it takes a bit of time, but all that we need to know is that, you know, this service is badly needed in Donegal, and if the people really need it, we'll try and provide it for as cost effectively as we can.
Okay, so you'll see how it goes. If you can get 50 onto that list, then you know it'll move on to the next step, and if not, at least you've tried.
Yeah.
Okay, Johnny Loughrey of No Barriers Foundation. Thank you very much, Johnny.
Thanks, John.